Aloha, it's Katie, and I'm back with another college video. This time, I'm interviewing some of my friends who got into amazing schools.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
A lot of you in particular have been asking how to get in the Ivy League, so I'm interviewing people who have gone Extracurricular. Join me this video and share some of their experiences, their stats, extracurriculars, essays, interviews, and all of that good stuff so that they can give you advice when it's your turn to apply. But first, if you're new to my channel, you should subscribe down below to join our Alohana. We welcome you to our family, and you can expect a lot more college videos coming up. I upload new videos every weekend. I also just started my vlog channel for college, so hopefully you can expect a lot more college videos coming soon. Also give this video a thumbs up and comment any requests you have down below. Let's meet these students. So you want to start off by introducing yourself and where you're going?
Sure. So my name is Kenzam and I'm going to Yale University.
I'm Sean and I'm going to be heading over to Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island.
Hello, I'm Mandy.
Mandy is going to Princeton.
Rawr.
My name is Yu Yang and I'm going to the University of Pennsylvania.
Do you know what you're majoring in?
I major in sociology.
I'm planning on majoring in global affairs or environmental studies.
I'm doing like this interdisciplinary major called NETS, which is kind of comp sci, kind of like businessy. It's
How were your stats?
My stats were strength on my application, 35 ACT, 800s in physics and SAT math level 2. GPA wise, I wasn't Katie, not valid.
No! Very subtle.
But had a decent GPA, 6.67 on the IB scale, which is out of 7, unweighted.
my standardized testing was good enough, but it wasn't anything extraordinary. Like my SAT scores, they were above 1500, but it was like low 1500s. For my GPA, 6.5, so that was pretty good. And I got a predicted 45 for my IB score.
For me, I think they weren't crazy, genius, amazing. I feel like that's an important thing too. If you're at a certain level already, you don't necessarily have to waste your time and spend time pushing it to be perfect. There are a lot of people that I know for sure that didn't have stats that were super perfect, but they focused their time on other things that would be more productive. And as long as you reach that certain level, I think people can just see that you're good enough.
What do you think is a safe score?
For me, if you hit at least like a 32 and above, I think that should be fine. If you took it for like the first time, sure, and you get a 32 or whatever, I think it's worth trying like one more time. But if you've done it like 3 times already and you've really tried, that's good enough, and you can be more productive with your time and spend it doing other things.
For me, my scores weren't as good and they were the thing I was most worried about, but I think colleges these days are going to obviously be looking at you in a holistic perspective, so they're not going to define you by your grades and your numbers. So instead, I would say once you're past there, I would really focus on who you are as a person and what you enjoy doing, what your passions are.
What extracurriculars did you do in or outside school?
A main extracurricular that I do is that I dance. I dance in school, and then I also teach kids who have experienced like some sort of trauma. So some kids were sexually abused or some were displaced from their houses, because here we have a lot of like natural disasters in the provinces. I think it's really important for you to be like authentic and genuine about like talking about these things, because I think readers can really feel it and see it.
I'm very passionate about sports despite not being very good at them. I love football. Yeah, I pretty much love football. I also played badminton and baseball. I was also very involved in the student ambassador program here, which is like a welcoming committee for new students. Oh, and of course, some service clubs that I'm very passionate about.
Very
passionate about them. Janelle started Project Best and got me on board with that. Taught lessons about science and math and English and to pretty smart kids. And then on another leg, I was part of another project that I helped co-found, which helped mentor not so good students, people who were on probation for bringing drugs to school, smoking on campus. We saw some pretty awesome changes.
I think my biggest extracurriculars were being the president of Sustainability Council. I've been involved with things like Global Issues Network since middle school, and I applied with an interest in environmental studies or global affairs, and so it really tied in well, and it's also with the classes I'm taking, because I do the IB, same as Katie, and I take higher level geography and biology, so in your application you kind of just edge it in any way possible. Another thing was also art, and if the college allows you to submit any sort of supplement, you can back up what you're saying about your own work. So I submitted my art portfolio as well as talking about it for a bit, and I even suggested that I might do it as a major. And a lot of my art is very political because I'm half Tibetan, so I tied tied that in with what I do outside of school over the summers, and I tied it in with my art, so it was very cohesive.
I had a service program that I studied with my friends in freshman year. I did MUN for all 4 of my years. I did badminton for all 4 years, and I was part of band for all 4 years. So I think these activities I carried out for all 4 years were the ones that were standout for me.
How do you think your teacher reps were? Who did you ask?
I asked my Spanish teacher and my English teacher. With my Spanish teacher, she was also the coordinator for Sustainability Council, so she knew me outside of just the classroom. And then my English teacher, I was really close to, and she also was obviously a great writer, and she knows me as a person. I've had her for 2 years. I've had both of them for over 2 years, so I think you need to really think about who knows you best as a person when you're deciding that.
Coincidentally, the teacher I asked for my teacher recs weren't necessarily the teachers that liked me most, but they were the teachers I felt that knew me the best. I had my math teacher and my English teacher write me recommendations.
I asked my chemistry teacher and my English teacher because I felt like my chemistry teacher was really a responsible teacher, and I knew that if I asked him, he would write me a rec and like spend time on it. And for my English teacher, I think we had a pretty good relationship, and I think English teachers are better at communicating what their thoughts are through words and can help like portray you to be the person they see. And
I asked our English teacher my junior year. 2 other teachers wrote my recs, my math teacher, and then my other one is my dance teacher here, and she's basically like my second mom.
For your essays, what did you write about for your commonapp?
On my commonapp, I talked sort of about my own sense of identity coming from so many different backgrounds. I look pretty Indian, but 2 sets of grandparents. One was a Hindu-Muslim marriage in the partition of India when the British left, which was a partition based on religion, and so that was a really big deal. Like, both of them were disowned from their families. On the other side, my 2 grandparents were a white woman and an Indian man who married in the US when interracial marriages were illegal. So I've sort of been raised with 3 different, very different religions, and that sort of impacted the way I see a lot of world issues.
For my commonapp, it was sort of more like a story. I almost feel like it was like an excerpt from a book, and I wanted to make it really creative. I mean, this is just one way to do it, right? But I started out very descriptive. It was about a story of a celebration I do in Tibetan New Year, and it was about this really weird thing where we make this demon and we walk around our house and we sweep demons out of our house, and then we put it out in the street, and then we have to run back home, and if you turn around, then you're going to be haunted for the next year. And so it was very strange, but I went through that whole process. And then how last year when I celebrated with my younger cousins, it was a moment of realization, and that was how it tied in with the actual commonapp essay question. In the end, it sort of just turned into who I am as a person, and it was about identity and how this sort of experience made me realize what I want to be doing in the future and being a social activist and stuff like that.
For my commonapp essay, I talked about the realizations that I had when I taught these children, because my preconceptions of teaching them and like the service that I wanted to do for them were definitely different from what I learned coming out of it. So I basically talked about how I met this girl. She came from Tacloban when the typhoon hit, and she was really quiet. In the beginning, going into teaching the kids, the mindset that I had was I have to teach them the proper technique, like they have to be able to do this perfectly, like execute the steps properly. But it was mostly about giving these children an outlet and allowing them to trust each other and like build a sense of community, so they all had each other because they were all going through tough times. For my app, like there were specific quotes that you could choose from for your supplemental essay. Chose one about culture. I'm really proud of our Filipino culture. I'm involved with promoting a lot of Filipino culture. I actually was able to incorporate, because for IB we have to do the EE. I researched a specific type of Filipino cultural dance. I just talked about telling stories through movement and through the Filipino culture, which then also again relates to why I kind of want to take sociology.
My supplements, I talked about how I could use STEM beneficial ways with societal applications. For the Brown specific essay, Why Brown? This one was really important to me because it's a school that you would not see someone majoring in comp sci or something think of as their first choice, and it was my first choice. Why I talked about how I was looking for a specific type of atmosphere in which to proceed through college, and Brown really offered that chill place people can enjoy themselves, explore, because there's no core curriculum. And on that point, another question asked is like, how do you make a choice? People, when I tell them, like my family, I'm going to Brown, they're like, what? I'm going to Harvard. It's like, what? Really? It's so important to choose someplace that you're not just going to be excited for a week to be telling people you're going to, but that you know that you will be happy with for the next 4 years.
For the supplements, a lot of the times they even do it down to the character. So you need to make sure that every single word you're saying is showing you entirely. You can be involved as many different things as possible, which a lot of people are, and it's really great. But I think if you can show a specific interest in 1 or 2 or 3 different things, then people are going to know that that's the way that you're going to be making an impact. So I would say in your supplements, make sure you really show that.
How are your interviews?
My interview was crazy. Got the message and it was like, you can meet me in my room. And I was like, what? What does that even mean? Who are you? It turned out to be a teacher at my school. She just graduated last year, and so she was so chill. It was not like a normal experience as far as interviewing goes. You usually get like old people. When I got accepted, we actually started a snap streak. Like, how many people can say that about their interviewer?
My interview was really nice. It lasted a lot longer than I expected. An hour and a half. She was really nice. She just started off with like, so how are you? What have you been doing? And it's very casual, right? But then it depends on the interviewer, because sometimes they'll come with a set list of questions. But for me, we sort of just branched off. We even ended up talking about politics and different things going on. And then I would ask her questions. Obviously, you're going to be nervous, and it makes sense because I was shaking when she walked in, but eventually you just start to get in the habit and you know that you're just having a conversation with someone else.
I think my interview went pretty well. At first it was kind of intimidating, but we just started getting the conversation going, and I think it flowed quite naturally.
In my experience and from what I've heard, like a lot of interviewers are there because they want to help you and they really want to get to know you. So I think you shouldn't really be super tense. Honestly, just be yourself. If they see who you are, then that's like the most attractive thing, right? If it's someone who's honest and authentic and whom they feel will succeed and thrive.
What do you think was your hug or your X factor?
These schools, at the end of the day, we need to keep in mind that they're looking to build a class with a specific set of people. They want so many computer nerds, they want so many Latina medical students. Perhaps I fit, what they were looking for that specific year. Brown has just finished making an engineering building on their campus, and it sort of signals that they want to make a bigger investment into engineering. Me applying for STEM, it's like, oh, maybe that kid will do engineering.
I feel like I'm pretty standard. Like, okay, a Chinese male applying to an engineering program, so like, I don't really know, but I think my essays were quite good. Doing early was a good choice for me because early pool, although it's still competitive, it's not as competitive as the regular pools. From statistics, it's shown that, for example, Ivies, all of them are within the 10 to 20% range of acceptance rates for early, but for regular decisions, they're almost all below 8%, which is a lot tougher.
For me, I was just really lucky because a lot of the things that I ended up doing, they all just kind of meshed for me. For example, I do culture here, and then I teach a lot of children. The classes that I take, a lot of them just align towards sociology. My biggest thing is what will help you is do things that you're passionate about.
Showing that you're really committed to certain things that you're passionate about are definitely going to go a long way in the admissions officer's mind. You probably start doing standardized testing earlier because I only submitted one ACT score, and I submitted it blind because I had been doing SAT and my scores were not there. So I wish I had tested out earlier which one is stronger for me.
Do you have any final wise words for these people about to go through the same thing you did?
Make sure you enjoy it because it can be an enjoyable process. The most important thing in my mind was really the essays and the writing aspect, because personally I really enjoyed writing all of them because you're writing about what you know the most about, which is yourself. I started writing my essays over the summer. I didn't have any college tutors or anything. A lot of the help I got from my parents. That just depends on your dynamic with your family as well, but I think sometimes when you have college tutors, they're going to take away from your voice, so you need to be mindful of that.
A lot of students who are writing essays feel like they need to show all of the counselors their essays or like show a lot of people to get the best feedback. Different people obviously have different opinions, so at one point I got too many people looking at my essays. Other suggestions were like conflicting with one another. I think at the end of the day, you can get maybe one counselor to look at your essay and then maybe even like a friend.
If you know people who go to these schools that you're looking for, just try to reach out to them. You can kind of gauge by like asking them what they do or what the vibe is like. You'll kind of get a sense of if you'll fit in or not. I also think it's important to have a strong support system with you. You are not alone in this process. Literally, your whole grade is going through this too. Not being afraid to ask friends for help or advice would be good.
Don't get too fixated on one school. For me, Yale was a school I've been wanting to go to for such a long time. But I did go through a period where I was like, okay, there's no way I'm gonna get in. So I just removed myself from the school. And after you apply, just just forget about it. I feel myself opening my reaction. I mean,
Did you cry or like,
well, yeah, I cried. I think before I sounded like a crazy person. I just kept saying, it's fine, it's just one school, and it's true, it is just one school, and it doesn't impact your future so much, this school, as much as what you take out of it and what you make out of it. Either way, I know that things will work out better than you plan.
So I hope you guys enjoyed that video and heard some wise words from these students. Give this video a thumbs up if you want them back on my channel. Subscribe down below to join our family. Again, we welcome you. I upload new videos every week. Follow me on social media at alohakatie and scan my Snapchat. You can click the top right eye to watch more of my videos. I will see you very soon with another new video. Bye guys!